broadcast network, AfterBuzz TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AfterBuzz TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows. Interviewing celebrities and showrunners. And bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Happy Monday, everyone, and welcome back to the AfterBuzz TV After Show for The Amazing Race, Season 27, Episode 9. I'm your host, James Wallington, and with me, we have a full panel tonight.
Yes!
Across
hey
the table
guys,
is...
I'm Jessica Carroll, and I'm happy to be back. And...
Hey guys, it's Marie and the mouse today. So if you are watching us, you can see my dog. If you're listening, start watching.
Yeah, she's adorable.
So cute.
Oh my gosh.
Well, this is Episode 9. It's always the quiet ones. What do you guys think? Overall thoughts on this episode?
I thought it was... I mean, first of all, it was in India, and I've been to India before, and I fell in love with the country. So I loved that, and I loved, bringing back all those good memories. But overall, I kind of thought it was nothing too exciting.
Yeah, nothing too exciting. India, of course, so exciting. You're like, oh my God, this is going to be awesome. And you see, the teams kind of just have, culture shock right off the bat when they get there, and there's people sleeping all over. Mm-hmm. But as far as, I thought the tasks were kind of cool, but there wasn't much else going on. I'll get into it later, but I'm mad about this episode.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, right off the bat, we have Texas and the cheerleaders talking about the U-turn at the previous leg's pit stop, discussing how they need to figure out what they're going to do, what the green team is going to do. So that kind of sets the pace and the tone for the rest of the episode, because the U-turn was all the drama for this episode.
And the cheerleaders were crying. I didn't like seeing that.
I know, but I feel like they cry easy.
Yeah, they do. They're emotional. They're just like Justin Bieber. They cry every time the camera's on them.
At the start of the leg, teams received their route info that told them that they were going to be flying to Delhi, India, then travel by train at 6 a.m. to Agra. Once there, they had to search for their next clue on a beach near Agra. On a beach near Hati Ghat. And then they got the warning that U-turn is ahead. Of course, at the airport, there's a lot of conversation going on before they even get to India regarding the U-turn. We hear Green Team talking about how they've won 5 first-place finishes.
I can't believe that.
And they're also like, we're the biggest threat. Well, yeah, of course, you're the biggest threat. You guys have won 5 times.
And I love how people are like, oh, the Green Team does exist. They finally, for once, at the airport.
We're in the same place with them.
And then the reporters, Kelsey, saying a U-turn is coming up, which makes me kind of nervous, but it also gives us an opportunity to stop the strongest team, Justin and Diana, which, going forward in the episode, I was like, wait, you talked about Justin and Diana, and then you U-turned the Texas boys, which we'll get to. The cheerleaders talking about how they can't use it. Well, there's drama going on about the fact that cheerleaders can't use the U-turn. And that whole drama started because of a conversation between the green team and the paparazzi. Yep. Logan slipped the news to Justin and Diana that the cheerleaders can't use their U-turn because back in Africa, they used the U-turn and they used it on the green team.
Yeah. Right.
And of course, Justin, being Justin, had to confront the problem at hand, approaches the cheerleaders, but it almost, the way he approached it, it didn't seem like he believed what the paparazzi was saying.
Right.
It sounded like he was...
I don't know why they didn't just stick with it. It's like paparazzi didn't want the cheerleaders to be mad at them. Okay, maybe in the event that what? Because the cheerleaders don't have a U-turn. They can't do anything bad to you. Tell the green team that the cheerleaders did it. Stick with it, and then they'll be after them, and you'll have nothing to worry about. So I don't know why they were no. Huh. Logan didn't say, I said that, and then the cheerleaders lied, and then everyone was okay with it. Mm-hmm. So
I just thought the whole thing was really interesting because, again, Justin approached the cheerleaders and was more like, oh, the paparazzis are saying things about you guys, that you guys U-turned us. And the way he said it just made it seem like he didn't really believe it, but the pot's starting to stir a little bit. And then all this drama starts to happen.
I don't know. For some reason, I thought the whole thing was staged. I felt like it was just too...
Yeah, it was a little...
I don't know. Why did I don't know. I just thought it was too weird.
Well, because things are probably so boring. I mean, the green team's running their own race. Everyone else is behind them. No one's really interacting with each other. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they purposely jammed them all in one spot and were like, hey,
talk about
discuss
the
U-turn. Right. Like,
yeah, that's how I felt like it was like, okay, this is the time when you guys, let's talk about the U-turn now.
I just thought there was like a lot of hypocrisy in the situation because it was just kind of like, really, this is just kind of pointless.
Well, right, like, but even if someone U-turns someone, like, why are you mad? Do you not understand that, like, you're on The Amazing Race and that there's a board so that you can use it?
Right,
like,
it's part of the game.
This always just amazes me that people like get their feelings hurt and now, now you're dead to me and this and that. Like, what's the point?
Game.
It's a game.
All is fair in love and war. It is part of the game. It's in the rules, and you know, if you're running The Amazing Race and have any sort of strategy, of course you're going to use it if it's going to benefit you.
Yeah.
Right.
And in that moment, the cheerleaders used the U-turn because they were staying true to their word.
Right, like, just
with
do
their
it.
path
There's
to
nothing
go
wrong
for the
with
green
that.
team. But of course, the green team was ahead of them. It didn't even affect them. So I didn't really see the big deal.
Because if the teams are ahead of the U-turn and then someone U-turns them, it just goes to waste, right?
Joey says that it wasn't staged.
Yeah, Joey goes, not staged. We all sat there going, damn.
Damn! All right, well, it seemed staged. I guess it just worked out that you guys were all talking about the U-turn at the same time.
Krista from the cheerleader says, I was not happy and it was 4 a.m. and we just walked into the drama. I can imagine that being kind of annoying and stressful at 4 a.m. in the morning. I would rather not deal with that.
Right.
But of course, when they got to the Delhi railway station, it was a culture shock for all of the teams because all of these people were just sleeping on the sidewalk, whether they were waiting for their transportation, who knows? But it was just all, you know, here if you go to Grand Central Station,
it doesn't look like that.
It doesn't look like that here in LA. So it was a culture shock for all of the team being like, wow, we're in India.
Which, by the way, when I was in India, I did not see that. There were people, you know, living on the floors, but it was not that crazy. So I'm interested to know, and I even went to Agra and I was there. So I don't know. I felt like it was
maybe
it was because I guess I wasn't there at 4 a.m. Maybe like literally at 4 a.m. everyone is just there sleeping. But I was there and I did not see that. But
maybe it is because it was so late and like there's
they
an early
planned
bus
it like purposely so that it was in the middle of the night. And they do that also just to kind of like mess with the teams. I mean, a lot of times you get a flight somewhere purposely so that you get there in the middle of the night and you have to have like a layover and you have to hang out there because it just messes you up. It makes you tired, you can't sleep, you go crazy, you fight with other teams, and they want you to be like at your wit's end when it's time to go because I mean that adds drama and that's what we want to watch.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Well, Justin from the green team in the chat says, we believed the girls. We had a bond with the girls at the airport, so we trusted them. Chris was just annoying everyone about the U-turn. And then Krista and James Earl both pipe in on the conversation. Amen. Preach, Justin.
But okay, so I have a question. If a team has already passed the U-turn and then another team U-turns a team that is already ahead, it goes to waste,
nothing,
right? Yeah, okay.
It goes to waste.
Once the teams got off the railway in Agra,
yeah.
Agra. Okay, I'm catching on.
You got it.
They got their clue for the roadblock. Who's ready for laundry day? Using a bicycle, one team member had to transport a bundle of Indian saris down to the bank of the Yamuna River, where they were shown how to tie them in a traditional way for washing. Once all of the saris were correctly tied, they had to wash them in a basin, then transport them across the beach and lay them out to dry. Once they completed this, they received their next clue, and for the speed bump, Tanner and Josh each had to perform this roadblock.
That was ridiculous.
Individually.
That was ridiculous. I mean, come on. The roadblock itself took a long time, and for them to have to do it, both of them, I thought that was a little...
Yeah, I feel like if it was anybody else, they wouldn't have had them do that. That's just, like, all we do is complain about how the speed bumps every single season are such a joke, and they take 5 minutes, and, like, it's not a big deal. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, they're like, do another roadblock. Like,
it took, like, an hour, probably.
Yeah,
like,
that just didn't seem...
I'm curious to hear from Justin
much.
how long that roadblock actually took one person, let alone, you know, two.
It just should be more even. Like, I remember our season, one of the speed bumps, the bunnies had to, like, swim across a pool.
Right.
We were like, are you kidding me?
I remember one
like,
season someone had to make like paper mache airplanes or something.
Well, even Brenshaw on All Stars had to do graphic tees.
Yeah, like they're all so stupid.
So easy.
But that's why I liked this speed bump, because this is what The Amazing Race is all about. The stupid stuff like printing graphics on T-shirts. That there's nothing about that is challenging.
Yeah, I'm just mad at production for doing this all of a sudden right now with a team that I liked.
Sure.
So, like,
Yeah.
you know. But
Mary Judah 444 says, I actually liked this speed bump, finally. She said, this is how a speed bump should be. Arrowman says, I agree, Mary. Mr. Aerosonic says, best speed bump in Amazing Race history.
Ooh.
Remember the one Beekman's did, which was to eat ice cream? We need more speed bumps like it.
Yeah, no, they're right. This is
No,
what it
I
should
did.
be.
I liked that the speed bump was challenging, and it definitely, made them suffer, I guess, a little bit. But first of all, it was just kind of a boring roadblock to see someone do it over again. It was like, okay, I would have rather seen them do something
else
more
that was
interesting.
challenging. Yeah.
Well, I have to hand it to Denise because she was a trooper, and I loved how the locals, like, even with her getting the bike down to the roadblock area, they were like helping her take the bike down the hill. And then poor Krista wasn't getting any help, and she completely fell off of her bike. But
She's fallen off her bike before, though, hasn't she? Like, that girl just has bad biking skills. I don't blame her. I mean, I would probably do the exact same thing, but I found that funny.
Mary Judah again says, finally, a great speed bump. Hope that every U-turn can be like this. Speed bump should be like this. I mean, sorry. So, yeah, Mary Judah is pretty gung-ho about this being how speed bumps should be.
Right. The thing I love, though, is that they were doing laundry, and they were carrying these wet saris that would drop in like this gross dirt, and then they would lay it out
clean about the laundry.
Yeah, like the laundry there was no way that was the clean sari after being thrown.
Well, even Krista said that. She's, I don't know what about this is clean.
Yeah.
However, they didn't lay the saris out that they washed. So they washed a pile, and then they were given another pile to carry and lay out. I mean, I don't know how much cleaner those were than the ones that they did, but it wasn't.
But still, like everyone, like even Denise, like dropped her saris like on the ground like how many times?
Right.
So it was kind of funny, but it was cool to see the steps because sari is a very delicate fabric, and when I was in India, I actually wore a sari, and so it was kind of cool to see how they actually do clean them.
Mm-hmm. Well, Justin, to answer your question, Justin and James Earl said it took about 40 to 45 minutes just to finish this roadblock.
Wow.
That's insane. It
See,
definitely
now that's
looked
okay.
tough.
Like, I feel like that is a good amount of time that a speed bump should take, but there has to be other points throughout the leg where you can catch up, mess up. Like, the entire rest of the leg was getting into a marked taxi. Their transportation had the flags on them. Again, they're not getting their own transportation. Every single time they finished something, they got right back in the same thing. And where do you mess up? If you get to your tasks and you do your tasks, you're not looking for anything. You're not on foot. You're not riding a bike somewhere. So there was no chance for Tanner and Josh to catch up because another team couldn't mess up.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Well, I kind of, again, liked this speed bump in the sense that we've seen on previous season with the speed bump. Before a team can even go on to the next task, they have to finish a speed bump prior. Sometimes it's at the same location but off to the side, or sometimes it's at a completely different location. So as much as it was physically hard, I feel like Tanner and Josh did have every chance and opportunity to catch up because they were right there with all the other teams. And Tanner finished and Josh went out there, and I believe was there other teams out there?
There were still other teams left.
So it's like they had a shot and they were still neck and neck with all the other teams. I would prefer that than being sent to a different location
and not knowing.
Right, because then you can see what's going on.
Right, because we always do say, like, as much as you can stay with the other teams, stay with the other teams, so at least you know where you are. However, they actually did catch up because once they got to, once they got their next clue, they actually caught up with the cheerleaders, and they were doing the next detour with the cheerleaders, so they did catch up.
Yeah. So,
you don't know.
Love it or hate it, a speed bump is part of the race.
Yeah.
I thought some other conversations or quotes that happened during the roadblock was Joey being like, my mom enjoys doing my laundry, so it's just like, does his mom still do his laundry?
Yeah. Basically, he was like saying that he like drops his laundry off at his mom.
Oh
that's
my god,
cute.
That's a good mom right there.
Today I literally folded three. Today I literally folded 3 buckets or little laundry baskets full of laundry, and I was thinking, I was like, I don't know if I could have done this roadblock. I was doing laundry while watching this, and I was just like, dang.
Oh my gosh, I
hate laundry.
Weird enough, I love doing laundry, and so sometimes I'll do like my roommate's laundry sometimes because it's like calming to me. So I would be right there with Denise, and I would be loving this roadblock.
No, I would hate it.
Another conversation that happened during this roadblock was with Tanner when he asks the entire group, if you're not going to U-turn us, let me know. And of course, it was kind of silent, like nobody was really piping in. But Diana goes, I genuinely don't think we're going to. And Joey goes, not planning on it. And then 5 minutes later, Joey, when he's putting out the sorries to dry, says, I kind of said no, but I'm okay with using it.
Yeah, I liked that.
That's fine. Need more of that.
Yeah.
So Joey finishes the roadblock first, followed by Chris, Diana, Tanner, Krista, Denise, and then of course Josh from Team Texas. Once the teams finished their roadblock, they were given another route info that said the teams had to travel to Hanuman Temple to Jewelry Bazaar to receive a traditional Indian blessing for their next clue, which was the detour, cans versus candy. In cans, teams had to load and secure 120 metal cooking oil cans into a flatbed bicycle and pedal through the crowded streets to deliver them to the new Taj Oil Company. Once all the cans were unloaded, they received their next clue. And candy, teams had to cut small pieces from winter melons, which are used to make an Indian candy called petha? Sure, did you ever try that when you were in India?
I didn't. No, I wish I did though.
Petha. Once the pieces weighed in at 1 or 90 pounds, they had to deliver already packaged petha to Panchi Petha Candy Store to receive their next clue. Which detour would have you done?
Honestly, I probably would have done the cans. Just because, like, anything to do with, like, cutting or food or any of that stuff, I suck at. And then the 90 pounds, I probably would have been like, ooh, that's a lot of weight. So I would have probably done the cans. What about you?
Yeah, I don't know. I was kind of even on this one. Like you said, the cans, it's like, okay, you have a number. All you have to do is figure out how to tie them and stack them. The biking through town obviously could be a little bit difficult. If your cans got knocked over and you had to start over, then you're really screwed. So on that side, I think, okay, maybe it would have been a little safer to do the candy because all you're doing is continuously trying to fill up this bucket so that you have enough.
Right.
You can't spill anything or have to start over. You can only keep building on if you didn't have enough. Mm-hmm. So I think I would have went with that one, the candy one, just because.
I think in my mind, I would have just thought, like, shoot, 90 pounds of candy, that's a lot of cutting to do. Mm-hmm. So I probably would have done the cans. But
I probably would have done cans and had that same mindset.
Yeah.
But I feel like they were nice and even. Like, a lot during this season were really mad about one side of the detour.
Right.
And I thought that this was a good, like, even, they were both the same level of difficulty. Yeah. So I was happy with the two choices, at least.
Right.
In the live chat, it seems fairly even with candy and cans from our viewers. So either or, I think, like you said, we're pretty similar on the same playing field. So,
and before we get into the detour, can we just talk about how freaking fun the tuk-tuks are, right? Tuk-tuk? Yeah. Or is it tuk-tuk?
It's a tuk-tuk.
No?
But did you do that when you were in India?
Oh yeah. You take a tuk-tuk everywhere. And it's, oh my gosh, like, the streets are madness. Like, elephants are crossing, like, donkeys, there's monkeys everywhere. There's no, like, right side of the street, left side of the street. Like, it is...
Yeah, like, how do they do that? There's literally no sides to the street. Everyone just goes.
But the crazy thing is there are no accidents. Like, people are just so... Like, they're such good drivers, and they just know that everyone is mad driving, that there's really no accidents.
That's so interesting.
But it is really fun driving in a tuk-tuk, and that whole experience, like going through markets and having it just crowded, and like people are sitting in the middle of the street and you're going around. It's just like that. It's so cool.
Like, I wonder how long it would take to get from one place to another in a tuk-tuk with streets like that. I mean, we complain about LA traffic all of the time, but maybe, the solution to our problem is to have tuk-tuks in LA.
Everyone can go wherever they want. Like, there should be no rules.
Yeah. But seriously, like, people in India are the best drivers because, I mean, if you took an LA driver and you put him in a tuk-tuk on those streets, hell no.
They're not going to know what to do.
Yeah, no way.
So funny. Well, this detour was pretty even as far as, like, teams doing one or the other. In cans, they had the reporters in the green team, and in candy, we had the paparazzi, the cheerleaders, Texas and Alabama. The best quote from the detour that I was laughing for quite a while about was when Logan goes, "Chris, just keep your name out of my mouth." I was like, how do these two function on a day-to-day basis outside of the race? It just blows my mind.
I love it.
Well, they probably don't have, like, these types of situations. I mean, this just magnifies everything. You know, people thought that about me and Tim. Like, why would they even want to spend like a second with each other? Because we were trying to kill each other the whole time. But like in regular everyday life, it's not like this. You're not always together trying to do a task. There's only one way to do, and you know, it kind of amplifies the whole situation, and then we get entertained, which is great. So I want them to keep yelling at each other. I like it.
I love it. I'm not hating either. I think they're great. They're definitely good television.
Yes. Someone said, are they really a couple? I mean, there's a chance that they're not a couple, because Tim and I were casted as a couple, and it wasn't until we finished shooting Two Legs that, you know, they were like, okay, fine, like, we know you're not a couple, and we'll go with that. So
do you think they are?
I don't know. I mean, they could have done what we did. We got casted pretending to be dating. We were on the phone with like our casting director for months, just, you know, talking about our relationship and how we had just gotten back together, and it wasn't until we actually left for the first leg that we were like, hey guys, we're not dating. We haven't dated in 5 years.
My God, that's
honestly,
so funny.
Now that you just brought that up, I don't think they're a couple.
They're probably not.
Because it kind of reminds me of like Brooke and Robbie. I didn't buy for a second that they were a couple, and everyone's like, that they were. I was like, I didn't.
Well, they were broken up. It was the same thing. They were together, and then they broke up. So when they were racing, they weren't together.
I don't think they are a couple. I don't even think they ever maybe were a couple.
I mean, if they really were, I feel like they would have a better name than the paparazzis. I mean, it's just, they're paparazzi.
Right.
They're not a couple.
Literally no sexual chemistry at all.
Oh, that's even weird to think about.
Isn't that weird to think about? Like, no. I just, like, if you saw them kiss, like, what would happen? I think I would actually laugh. Oh my God, James is cracking up over here.
I don't know why that's so funny to me, but it's just so like
it would be more comfortable to see James, Earl, and Denise kiss on the lips than the paparazzi. Like, honestly.
Too funny. Wow. Okay.
Okay, so James is telling us they are a couple. They're still dating. Blah blah. But let's be real, they're not.
Thank you, James Earl, for confirming that. Ooh,
Can you just let us believe what we want to believe?
So funny. Is there anything about this Detroit that stuck out to you guys?
Oh, I thought that it was brilliant that the Texans made huge pieces of candy and then cut it up later because it filled up the bucket faster. And everyone else was cutting these thin, you know, slices of melon.
I was a little bit nervous when they first said that, though, because I thought maybe it had said that they had to be small or a certain size, because I was like, well, why the hell else wouldn't everybody else have done this? Like, why are you cutting up miniature pieces when you can just, like, hollow out big pieces of the melon? So, I mean, maybe the Texans are the only smart team. I don't know. I thought there may have been a rule on that, but I guess not.
Well, I thought that they cut out long pieces and then they went back.
And then cut them up again?
Yeah, I think that's what they did.
Why are you laughing? What's going on?
I'm laughing at the live chat because I think it's a little delayed. Like, what we're talking about is delayed from what they're seeing right now. And they're all starting to talk about what we just talked about. And James Earl goes, no ma'am. No ma'am. Oh, so funny.
Wait, the Texans messed up. Messed up what, Krista?
Krista DeBono.
So cryptic.
They had to be small.
They had to go back and chop it up. So, okay. So either way, you had to make them smaller. Maybe it was a little faster to just get big pieces out and do it, but you had to make them smaller.
I wish we had candy in here, like the
we should have got candy
because
for
I'm
today.
really curious to know, like, is it candy or is it just fruit?
Okay, so it's a winter melon that I think what they do is they, like, bake in, like, a sugar coating. I mean, I don't know.
What, you like Tasty Travels? How do you know this? She like literally just was about to school us on how to make the candy.
I was thinking they like put it in like like a fondue kind of thing. They dip it in chocolate and then sell it on. I don't know. I
don't know. I just, based on like what it looked like, I thought I maybe saw it when I was in India, but it might have been completely a different candy. But it looked like it was sugar coated. So
yeah, they probably dry it out and then just like combine it with a whole bunch of sugar and bake it and. I don't know. It sounds yummy. We should have had some.
I asked in the live chat if any of the teams got to try it, and Krista said didn't get to taste it after all of that.
That sucks.
That's not fair.
Not fair.
You should have had to taste it before you left, and that would have been good.
It's always fun when you get to try food along the way, right?
They were funny. The cheerleaders and the Texas boys were funny at the Detour. I like when they're at things together. I like to watch them interact. I don't know what it was that Josh did, but I think Krista called him a loser, and like Tanner was so embarrassed by his existence. Like, they were just being silly, and I enjoy watching them. So that was fun.
And you could tell it was hot. I mean, the cheerleaders were sweating.
After the detour, they got route info that was leading all of the teams to the U-turn before even going to the pit stop. The clues instructed the teams to make their way to the Bijili. I'm bad at these names, but I'm going to say Bijili Karuhaha to search for their next clue and the U-turn board. This is where things got a little surprising to me.
Yes.
Justin and Diana, there was kind of like in my mind, I was like, they're not going to use it because they're playing it safe. Like, they like to talk a big game with everyone, but then they're not going to stir the pot on a big level like the U-turn. But then we have Joey and Kelsey come up out of nowhere and play the U-turn.
I was shocked.
Yeah, I was shocked. I thought a U-turn would have been played, but I didn't think the reporters were going to be the one to use it. And if they did use it, I never would have thought that they were going to use it on Team Texas.
Because you get one U-turn, right? Mm-hmm. So I would have thought they would have kept their U-turn until they had the opportunity throughout the race to use it on Diana and Justin.
Yeah, but you know what? That chance is probably never going to come along.
Because they're too far ahead every time.
It's smart. Everyone's like, oh my God, why would you do that? You're in second place. There was no way that anything, was going to be an issue for you. Like, that's not why they did it. They did it because they're smart. They had a chance to get rid of a really competitive team that's a big threat to them. You get to the final three, you don't want Tanner and Josh in it with you. If you have a chance to get rid of them, like, sorry, that's mean. Like, they're nice people. You shouldn't do that. But, like, again, it's a game. There's a reason that the board is there, and that was a strategic move that I think a lot of people didn't understand why, and were like, oh, they're such jerks, why would they do that? But like, I would have done the exact same thing. You have a chance to get rid of a potential competitor in the final three. Get rid of them whenever you can,
right?
And they knew that they had the speed bump and they were going to be behind, so they basically were just like, you know what, let's do it, let's get them out.
But that's the part that shocked me, is that they knew they were already so behind.
Yeah, but if they didn't do it, they wouldn't have got eliminated.
Because the way I saw it too is like, if Team Texas,
right,
they might be sure Team Texas is behind, but let's say they made it, got fifth, and someone else went home. In the next leg, let's say it's an equalizer. Now the Team Texas is on the same playing field as everybody else, and they've proven early on in the race that they're a strong contender for the money as well. That it only made sense that they're already knocked down. That why take that chance of like, oh, they're already so far behind.
Right.
Let's just not use it, but we might as well, because that way we know.
No, you always
more
have
than likely
to use
they're
it.
gonna go home.
Yeah.
I mean, it was really smart of them, and it got them, eliminated, so it worked to their advantage. Yeah. And just like Justin always says, only use a U-turn if the team you U-turn is going to go home. And they did that exact thing.
Jason Manning in the live chat says, the reporter's U-turn didn't shock me at all. I thought it was a great move to keep them in the race, but it hurt their social game slightly. If it hurt their social game, I think it only hurt their social game with Tiffany and Krista. I don't think it's going to really ruffle feathers with any of the other teams on a grand scale. I think, obviously Tiffany and Krista were really butthurt when they saw Tanner and Josh up on the U-turn board, because they have a relationship with them on the race. They work together so much on all these legs, so of course they're hurt. They're upset that their best friends in the race are going to probably get eliminated, and of course they did, but I don't think it's going to really ruin Joey and Kelsey's social game.
No, not at all.
And that doesn't matter. Like, that has to be second to like your own game and looking out for yourself. And honestly, you can't worry about that.
People might like them even more for the fact that they are playing the game the right way. Like, they're in it to win it.
Right. I mean, at the end of the day here, if Kelsey and Joey weren't smart enough to U-turn Texas would still be in the game, and James, Earl, and Denise would have went home. I mean, we don't know how close that was, because, of course, editing wants to make us think that. But the reality is they did an entire extra detour while James, Earl, and Denise were running around looking for the pit stop. And, they were even with the cheerleaders, and look how they came in. So there's really no chance that, aside from them getting lost themselves, they wouldn't have ended up eliminated. And I mean, and they were like walking through their detour too. Like they kind of like thought they were going home, and they were just doing everything slow. And of course, I'm screaming at my TV, like, what are you doing? Because like James Earl is lost right now. Like you need to pick it up.
Yeah.
But again, you don't know. Did editing do that? Were they so far behind that there really wasn't a close race at the end? We don't really know.
Right.
So.
Oh my gosh, I love what's going on in the chat right now. Joey's like, Krista still hates us, and Krista's like, no, I don't. Stop. I flew to LA to see your ass.
James Earl keeps yelling at me. He keeps saying, not true. Not true what? Were you going to win anyway? Like, I'm so confused. What? Because to us, it appears that you only got saved because the boys were U-turned.
Right.
Talk to me about this.
Justin, also from the Green Team,
we were at the pit stop for an hour. Okay, so it was editing. But, you know what? Still, Kelsey and Joey, they did the right thing by making sure that the boys were going to be gone.
Absolutely. Right. And Justin from the Green Team said in the live chat, what they didn't show is Diana and I said, after what Josh and Tanner did for the girls the leg before, we couldn't U-turn them in the land of karma. So yeah, again, playing it safe, because karma does have a way
karma
of
gets you second place.
Yeah.
So once teams you got to the U-turn's destination, they were given their clue to take them to the pit stop. The clue directed teams to travel to Moonlight Garden, known locally as the Mitabah, something like that, across the river from the famous Taj Mahal, and search the grounds for the pit stop. And
I loved how Logan and Chris, when they got to the U-turn board, they were like, ugh, we're still stuck with Green Team.
Oh, At the pit stop, first place, of course, the Green Team, giving them 6 first place finishes. They got 6 first place finishes.
And a trip to Honolulu.
I know. I really kind of thought like the reporters were going to beat them this time.
I do too, but I'm really hoping. Actually, I'll wait for that. Second place, the reporters. Third place, the paparazzi. Fourth place, the cheerleaders. Fifth place, Alabama. And last but not least, eliminated on this week's episode is Team Texas. We say goodbye to Tanner and Josh, the first team from Team Jess to be eliminated.
Aww, I'm sad.
Bummer.
Now I have an X on my board.
But did you notice that I think what happened with James Earl and Denise getting lost, when they showed up at what they thought was the correct garden, he says to the taxi driver, he was like, is this the place? Are you sure this is the place? You're 100% sure? Okay, you don't have to wait for us. So that's always like, you never want your taxi to like leave. Right. And I was like, oh my god, they're gonna come back out knowing that it's the wrong place, and then their taxi's not gonna be there, and this is gonna be a disaster.
It made me nervous.
Yeah, and I think they did end up running around in the wrong place for like an hour anyway, but I was so afraid they were gonna walk back out and the taxi was gonna be gone. Like, that's just like number one rule.
I wonder how long they were lost for.
Probably a long time. I mean, these things, like, everything always looks like it happened so quick and, like, so, everything's so close, but these legs are so long. Like, this goes on for hours. You could be lost for an hour, and you're still in it.
Right.
So, probably a lot longer than it even looked like.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about our fantasy teams. Give our little viewers an update of what's going on with our fantasy points. Marie, still sad to say, there's 3 X's next to your name. All your teams are
whatever. Now, Team James, you're the only one with all of your teams.
But I'm afraid that I'm going to lose a team next week. I think I'm due for one to go home.
You are.
Losing a team.
Everyone needs to have 1 X now.
Team Jess has the reporters and the Green Team still in it. Both are really strong contenders, and quite honestly, I think both will be in the finale.
I think so too, but honestly, I did not expect the Texans to go home until...
Me neither.
I thought they were going to be like one of the last teams.
Well, they were played up so much in the editing and in the story. I was like, this rivalry between the Green Team and Team Texas might carry over into the finale.
Right.
I was waiting for it. So when Tanner and Josh got eliminated, I was like, wow.
I think the cheerleaders are going to pick up the baggage for the Texans, and they're going to have the rivalry with the Green Team. So, like, it's going to keep going, and then we'll see them to the end. Final 3 is going to be, like, paparazzi, which we don't really want, but, like, they're going to be there just because they're going to argue. And it's going to be the Green Team, and it's going to be the cheerleaders. That's what I think.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Oh, hell no.
Hell no. Who do you think is going to be in the top 3?
I would like to see the Green Team.
Yeah.
The reporters. Oh my god, I'm really torn.
I know.
I would like to see all my teams in the top 3, but I think if there are going to be 3 teams in the top 3, it's going to be the reporters, Green Team and Team Alabama.
I mean, I want it to be the reporters, but it's not.
You don't think they're going to make it?
No. I think they're
it's
probably going to go
be...
next. Like, something terrible is going to happen. They're going to go, them or Alabama, I'm telling you.
No, because I feel like we've seen before in the way the editing works that I'm just waiting for our first place finish. I'm waiting for our first place finish. And then eventually they finally get their first place finish. So what I would like to see is like the reporters for all these legs being like, we're so close to first. We're so close to first. If they're not going to get first any of these legs, they might as well win the whole show.
Yeah,
and that being like,
happen,
I'm okay with second every leg as long as I win the final stretch. So that would be cool to see.
Yeah.
But then part of me is like, I would love to see the Green Team win only because they are super fans. They've obviously have kicked ass this entire race, let alone they played it smart.
Yeah. They have literally not made... Have they made a mistake?
Besides bickering, which is normal.
Yeah. I think there was like one episode where they made a mistake, and I think it was the first one where they did the paragliding with the weather warning, but that was like the first mistake and the only mistake they've made. So they have played this race so smart. They're super fans, and it would be really cool to see them. But then again, the reporters, coming in second all these times and then finally winning in first, that would be cool too. I think it's going to be Diana and Justin, the reporters, and I hope it'll be James and Denise. I mean, Denise is like super mom. She said that she ran 11 miles this leg. I mean, that is crazy.
That's insane. Yeah, it's literally anyone's game, because some people keep surprising me. Obviously the Green Team, I think Green Team's a shoo-in for finale. Shoo-in.
Yeah.
Totally. But then the other two spots are literally open to anybody, because one mistake and you could go home.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, next week it looks like paparazzi and cheerleaders kind of have a little bump in the road. The paparazzi doing what they do best, fighting. And Tiffany, it looks like she has a problem with... It looks like it's a roadblock because it looks like she's alone. Mm-hmm. So, I don't know. I don't know. I really cannot predict this because I did not predict the Texas boys to go home.
I didn't either.
I'm so sad.
I know. I like them.
So, who do you guys think will go home next week?
I think it might be the cheerleaders. No. I know. I like them.
No, I think it might be the reporters. I don't want them to go home, but I have to base it off the fact that none of the other teams I don't want to go home can't go home. So them. And also, slight spoiler alert, when James Earl was yelling at me last week, he was like, oh, well, maybe we'll grow on you in the next few weeks. And I tweeted him back and I was like, oh, few? So I'm going to be seeing you on my TV for more than one more week? And he tried to downplay it. He's like, oh, yeah, I wish I was that smart to do that. But no, you slipped. You gave it away. So I don't know. I don't know if he just didn't choose his words right, or we're still going to be seeing them for another week after this. That's the only reason I would think the reporters would go home instead of them.
Yeah. Well, we know that the finale is definitely going to be on December 11th. So what? That's only 2 more episodes and then the finale.
Yeah.
So I think it'll be another team goes home, which will leave us with 4. It'll be a non-elimination again. Right. And then the finale will be all 4 teams going to the final city. One of those teams being eliminated. The other 3 duking it out for the first place.
So finish. We'll see 2 legs in one.
Right.
Yeah.
So next week might be a non-elimination, or it could be elimination. What do you think?
I think next week will be an elimination.
Yeah. I think that's what happened on our season.
Yeah.
So, and then with the last 4 teams, it was non-elimination, and then the 4 of you go into this giant double super leg thing. You know, one team goes home in the middle of it, and then there's the final 3. I think we're looking at that happening again.
Yeah, that's what I think.
Oh, boy. Anything can happen on The Amazing Race.
But they're staying in India one more week, right?
Yeah, India 2.0.
2.0. I'm excited. I love it. And how beautiful was the Taj Mahal?
Beautiful. Sorry, I was reading something in the live chat while trying to acknowledge what you were saying.
So beautiful, and it's even more beautiful in person. Oh my
Steven, it's not a real spoiler. It's just something that happened on Twitter. We
what
don't
she
actually
said did
know
not
what's
give
gonna
away
happen.
anything. It's definitely not a spoiler. Oh, yeah. Well,
don't you think that Mouse should come? Mouse.
We need to get like a high chair for Mouse and just like have her permanently be on the panel.
Just like roam around.
The mascot.
Let's just put her up on the TV.
We have a mascot.
There you go.
There you go, Teeny.
Teeny, go say hi to James.
Don't let her fall off.
All right, well, that wraps up episode 9. where can they find you on social media, Marie?
You can find me at Reebsicle on all social media.
And you guys can find me at DressJessXO.
And you can find me on Twitter at James Wallington and on Instagram at James.Wallington. And we will be back next week. Hopefully you all have a wonderful, blessed, and safe Thanksgiving with all your family and friends this week. And we will see you next Monday at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on AfterBuzzTV.com.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.